Have you ever noticed how learning something new can create an internal struggle with what you already know? This is especially the case when you're taking in new concepts related to your spiritual growth. For example, the idea that the kingdom of God is within. That concept can create amazing conflict within your mind, since it's very different from what you may have grown up with. So let me share a quick story that will help enable you to understand and handle that internal resistance to truth principles. The story is about a struggle between the wind and the sun. Who was the most powerful? Well, now the wind thought he was stronger because of his destructive effects on the weather. And there wasn't a day that went by that he didn't boast about that strength and the impact that he had. Well, after a while, the sun got sick and tired of hearing it, and so he decided to challenge the wind to a contest. Now, this is what he said. "Look, you old windbag, I'm going to prove that you are not as powerful or influential as you think you are." Look down there. Do you see that truth student that's walking down there on the sidewalk? Well, the wind whirled around to get a closer look. And then he said, "Oh, yeah, I see him. Kind of wimpy, isn't he? Surely you can find a more challenging subject than that." But the sun continued, and he said, "I dare you. I double dare you to blow that jacket off his back." Well, the wind thought that was going to be so easy. And so he said, "Okay, watch me." And he started to blow, gently at first, and then a little harder and harder. And the man struggled against the wind, but you know what? Because the wind got harder, he just held on to that jacket tighter than ever. And the harder the wind blew, the more the man resisted letting go of his jacket. Well, about now the wind was getting kind of mad, and so he blew this huge gust. But the man wouldn't let go. And finally the wind just gave up. And he said, "Okay, let me see you do it then." And that was just what the sun was waiting to hear, because he grinned, and as he did that, he sent radiant rays of warmth down on the student. And that student was pretty happy for the change in weather. And then the sun continued to send radiant light and warmth, and the warmer it got, the warmer the truth seeker got, and eventually he responded by simply taking off his jacket. Isn't it amazing how the sun's soft sell approach was much more persuasive? The wind came through with this idea that he was just going to force it and rip that coat right off the man against his will. But the sun, on the other hand, simply let its light shine, using warmth, kindness, and understanding instead of that intimidation, power, or humiliation. So why tell the story? Now, the sun applied the same secret that Jesus practiced. There's a story where he warned his disciples not to force truth principles on others, and he told them what to do instead. And the same applies to our acceptance within our own self as we hear and absorb new ideas related to our spiritual growth. What Jesus said, and this is recorded in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, so it's obviously a valuable teaching. He said, from a literal point of view, reveal the truth with those who are ready to hear it. And if you run into resistance or disinterest, don't force things. Simply shake the dust off your sandals and non-judgmentally just continue on your truth walk. Well, that's the literal. Metaphysically, this story is so rich. It offers so much wisdom. So let's first of all take a look at the key words and concepts and look at them from a metaphysical perspective. And then we'll wrap up with what exactly does that telling us. So the key words first. Jesus. Now, Jesus metaphysically stands for that within us which knows and continually strives to fulfill our Christ potential. the kingdom of heaven. Quite simply, the kingdom of heaven represents our Christ consciousness, our divinity within. And then we have the 12 disciples represented in the story. And the 12 disciples stand for the higher consciousness, the powers within each of us that allows us to be the truth of who we are. A town or a village represents any group of accepted attitudes or belief system. It's a particular point of view that is held and believed in. And then we have house. And the house stands for your individual human consciousness. The phrase, shake the dust off your feet, simply means denying the power of material things, the world of outer appearance, refusing to let that affect our spiritual understanding. So, those are the key concepts. What is it saying to us? Metaphysically, we believe there are 3 valuable concepts here that can help each and every one of us grow in our spiritual development. First of all, as we apply our growing awareness of truth principles to our current belief and habitual ways of thinking, we're going to experience some internal resistance. You know, when you hear new ideas, they fight against the old ideas that have been there for so long. This is very natural. It's okay. Whenever we're expanding our spiritual awareness, we're going to have some internal struggle. Make that okay. The second important lesson is to recognize that while some of our beliefs will be easy to change, others may take a while. So the message is, be patient with yourself. You're shifting new ideas. You're growing in your thinking. So be patient as you let yourself grow. And then our third lesson is when we encounter resistant thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs, we need to make it okay. Just breathe through any resistance. Deny any power to the world of appearance. And just keep our attention on the truth of who we are. We are God expressing as us. As we grow in our spiritual understanding, we continue to apply what we are learning as we walk the spiritual path on practical feet. We invite you to visit our website, www.unityspirituallifecenter.org. That's where you're going to find other messages, and you'll even find our Metaphysical blog, which is filled with helpful articles that will give you advice for your spiritual growth. We wish you blessings and abundant life.